Okay, so for the first communal objective, I'll be going over the main menu. So here we have the four options: start, options, controls, and quit. So we're going to take a look at the code real quick. So for the code here in public void play game, it's just essentially when we click on our button, it'll push us to the next scene. And then public void quit game. So if we were to build it out and we click the quit game option, it'll stop it from running. So back here, we see the main menu, and that's where I put our script in. So here are our clickable buttons, and then essentially this one just uses our play game void and lets us go to the next scene. For options, it'll disable the main menu over here, and it'll enable the menu for the options. And then quit, it just makes our game stop running. And then controls will push us the same thing. It will just stop showing this one and show the controls running. So here, turn that off. So here we have our options, and then the back button would just take us back to the main menus. And then we'll close that one. And here's controls, same thing, back button takes you back. And that's it for a thing. Oh, let's just see it running. Okay, so here we have the start, options, controls thing, just the same way. So now we actually click on it and you see it moves. Options, shows us our little option thing, and then we start the game, it launches. Okay, so for our next community objective, I've opened up Blender here to show the 10 assets that I made. So here we see one of our enemies in the game. Okay, here's the cheese one, since our main character is supposed to be a mouse. It's just triangle basically. Here's one of the other enemies. And I also made a stop sign which went unused. Oh, I also made sounds, and then here I'll just play them for you guys. To create the sound, I used chip tone, and here I'll just show you a little example. For our next community objective, I'll be showing 3 things I learned outside of class. So this is for my gun script. So essentially, we have audio source, so when we fire, it makes sound. And then our damage, our range, our camera, and our particle system. So if we click left on the mouse, it fires. And instead of using mouse button 0, because when you clicked it, even if you hold it, it'll automatically fire like a machine gun. So I used fire 1, which is something Unity already understands, and it just runs it once. So you gotta click it repeatedly, and then it just plays our sound, and then it'll say our void shoot, which is just a ray cast, and then it just says if it hits something within our range, it'll tell us its name, and then it'll look at our target script, and then if it hits, it gets the component target, and then it takes damage. So in our target script here, we have an audio source, health, and we have a public void take damage so we can reference it in our gun script. And then our health right here would be subtracted by the amount of damage being dealt by the gun, which is 10. So if our health was less than or equal to 0, it would play a sound of our enemy dying, and it would die, which would destroy our game object. Okay, so here I'm going to just show you what it looks like running. So our next script is called back and forth, and essentially it just makes our enemies move from side to side towards the waypoint. So we have waypoints here, which are our game objects, an int, which is called current waypoint, and it's set to 0, and our float speed, which is set to 10. So in void update, essentially here we have it moving so it looks for the waypoint, and then if we get too close to it, it just swaps to the next waypoint. And then here it actually pushes our waypoint towards, well, I mean our game object towards the waypoint, essentially making a loop. And here's the code running. So here we have our health script, and essentially we just put audio up here. So if we take damage, it makes a sound. And then we have a private void on trigger, enter, collide or other. So essentially, if our player object collides with another game object that has a tag that's D, it'll subtract 50 from our health and it'll play a sound that we got hurt. And then if our health amount is less than or equal to 0, it'll use our void die, which would use our void reload level, and then it would, you know, reload our level by using the scene manager, and then getting the name of the current scene, and then just reloading it. And then here is actually where it works. So here's the actual text part, and then we have a health amount set to 100F, so, it's subtracting by 50 in the other script. And then here it displays our text, and then make sure it's always around even number. And here's the code working. The next communal objective is to implement 5 animations. So here we have the blue monsters doing 3 distinct dances, and then the mouse is walking and he's jumping. But unfortunately you can't really see the jump, so I'll show you another animation in a different clip. For our final community objective, we were supposed to receive 10 pieces of feedback from our classmates. On screen will be my 10 pieces of feedback.